with the Lord in the light of his word. What a glory he sheds on our way. While we do his good will, he abides with us still and with all who will trust and obey. As I smoke and say I obey, I am being King's U, calling out Frankly in 5. So Frankly in 5, I'm sorry, Mr. Fine Sir. I've been watching you for a while and now I don't know what to think. So I'm going to be my King's Braveheart, as my name is Swaney and I do have Scottish Braveheart roots in my actual name and blood. So I am debating you right now, my fine sir, because I've been watching you for quite a while. And I thought you got exposed for some of your strange ideas at a worldwide prayer meeting recently, where some other people who were talking about the king to come made you decide you might be gone for a while, but now you've reappeared with your birds. Baby, ugly birds. Have you been reborn? What, I don't quite understand that part. So please do tell, because I like to keep it like you, that Frankly in five quick minutes to update you, usually for Q. So, Mr. Frankly, is it Frank Romanek Jr. or something to that? I wondered the first time you got in the hospital if somebody was trying to wake you up off that Q road to destruction, but then once you literally woke up out of, was it a coma, that you had such a massive heart attack that literally within days you were talking about, like, there's an iceberg ahead, but it's all gonna be okay on the Q train, which was a runaway train, all right. Yeah, unstoppable maybe to destruction, it seems, because that's all pretty much gone. So please tell me you're not part of the gold coin scheme which suddenly disappeared that Trump had made, that had those amazing gold coins with Trump's face on the front, and then those vax needles and swords on the back to cut off our heads for the American Holocaust to come? I never heard that in your little Q train and little hints that you were putting out. But that was all over. No more news. If you were watching that instead of Fox News, that could be Fox Nude News, then Laura Ingraham, I don't know what he would do. And please do tell how the greatest commandments are one of your favorite things, and how if we just love God right and our neighbors ourselves, everything would be okay. But no, you seem to be caught up in this, military scheme that we're going to take over, or Trump's going to win anyway? Is he the one who went down and came back that Revelation talked about? Or, dear, I don't know. Because the other thing that I don't understand is, right now, after all these things, and I thought that you were trying to figure out if you'd blasphemed. You seem to be really yeasty, but I didn't think I'd see you come back and start claiming that not only are your birds gonna look pretty, but do we just need to read Psalms and go back to some of your old studies when you were a little chubbier and happier? Is that a princely scheme, or were you just gonna deny the king until the end? Is there money in that for you? I just don't quite understand where you are right now. And who is your king? Or are you one of the ones that doesn't believe in a king? You just believe in a kingdom? And that you might be part of helping some others reign who want to behead some of us who aren't in that LGBTQ anti-Semite scheme? Well, it really would be nice, Mr. Franklian 5, that you would come out these days and say what you really are, because you're either with the Philippians 2 king that all will bow to, or you are part of the Synagogue de Satan scheme, or maybe already with the whore de Babylonia. So it would be really nice if you would just say who you are, because this is not the time for comfortable psalms. This is a time for a deep chaffing of the church. And, well, if you want to be so yeasty that there's no king in you, then I don't know how you can say that your righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees? Or is that why you already know you have no part in the kingdom, because you don't exceed their righteousness? And if you don't, I've heard Mr. R.C. Sproul preach that that's one of the scariest verses in the Bible to him. So maybe you need to figure out who is your king and get out of the government schemes, because when Caesar was killed by Brutus, many people thought Caesar was God. Other people thought Caesar thought he was God. But between the two, there weren't that many that actually knew God. So when Brutus killed Caesar, he thought Caesar would just be like, "Oh no, I've died." But why did he say, "Et tu, Brute?" Which means, "And you, Brutus?" Because, see, Caesar already knew that many people thought that he thought he was God, but that didn't mean he did. Because if you don't think that Caesar ever talked to God as he ruled, well, he would have been more scared when he got killed, but he didn't really seem that sad or scared. He was just like, "You too thought I was God, and now you thought you were going to be God," which basically is the sin of Lucifer, thinking, "Oh yes, I will be God," and then, well, didn't go so good for him. And, well, man, there's so many that seem to have become their own king and deny the king that all will bow to in Philippians 2. So What exactly is your statement of faith, Mr. Frankie in 5? Frankly? Let's get frankly now. Let's get frankly as we can, because if you're not straight up and call yourself Frankly in 5, then what the heck are you, Frank? I've always thought that Frank meant blunt, like straight up. And if you've been playing shuffleboard all this time with your little cue games, Mr. Well, then you might not be on the king's team, see, because if you know about Trump's gold coins and have been covering that up, that means you're in with the scheme. And I don't know, do you, work for the CIA, or what exactly is your little scheme? Because this is amazing, and it's really making me wonder who's hooked up with who, and where is the paycheck coming from? Because if you never, ever mention the word king in any of your next videos, well then, oh dear, I'll just come out and say you're a blasphemer, because that's all you could be. And Revelation 22 comes pretty soon, and if you just want to be chaffy with the whore all the time and stay that way and dream in your comfortable psalms, well, you could be part of the drying out of the sea, when people might turn to pillars like Lot's wife, because they couldn't turn back from the scheme when he said, "Come out from her, my people." Well, which people are you again, Mr. Frankly in 5? How frankly are we being? And how frank are you? And how straight up and blunt can we be? If King's U is here and we're trying to educate people briefly, because brevity is the soul of wit, or are you making it into brevity being the wit of soul? Because it seems like you're pretty witty with how the soul works, but I don't know how true you are to the King who comes. And at Catholic Radio prays 24/7 for a coming Philippians 2 king, and Catholic means universal, which would be what Philippians 2 means. And well, let's see, which doctrines do you trust in, sir? And are those the doctrines of men that make sons of hell? Because, well, could add up quite quickly as to what's really going on here. Because I got a feeling there's something a little strange, and I smell a rat, because, well, two-legged rats is a name that my king used when he first came and got killed and exposed dens of thieves with Hellboy's doctrines. And back to Philippians 2, where every knee will bow, and Catholic Radio prays 24/7 to be a universalist church like Philippians 2 means, and Catholic means universalist. Not to say all their doctrines are right, but the name of the church might be, along with universalist, which I've never heard you say, my fine sir. And if every knee on earth will bow, are you one of the ones pushing that doctrine that most will do it from hell if they're not in your four-walled belief system?